focused upon for this reason, because its terrace was, scrutinized, and there were launched almost, you had huge catapults that were, installed there, and a lot of also a lot of, pyro bombardment material for pyro bombardment, which was there on the rooftop. So and also the neighboring school, which was the DRP school. These two schools there, they have a common wall. So DRP school was also in the news for the same reason, because from Rajdhani school, DRP school was attacked and totally burnt. We saw it totally destroyed, totally, absolutely razed. Every single classroom was vandalized, broken, and totally gone. And unfortunately, there also happens to be a religious angle to it, because Rajdhani school belongs to somebody from the Muslim community, and DRP belongs to somebody from the Hindu community. So therefore, this was a lot in the news. What was not focused upon were some other schools that we saw in the area. For example, in Bridgepuri, we saw the Arun Senior Secondary School, which was totally, it's a huge, it was a very well stocked and a very well functioning school, in which it was providing education to students from both communities. And this was told to us by the locals there only, that those who were sitting around there, we spoke to a lot of locals there, and they said, yeah, students from both communities were getting education there. Huge piles of books, they had something like, I think, 150 computers, and their entire library. When we had gone there, which was, I think, after about 3 or 4 days of the burning, it was still smoldering. Okay, classrooms broken, and therefore that became very tragic. This was directly an attack on an infrastructure which is much required there in that area, as it is in every other area. And its destruction was very tragic, and it was very evident from, we spoke to the owners of the school. They were at a loss. We spoke to employees were at a loss. We spoke to people sitting in the nearby masjid. They were at a loss. They were telling us that this is something that was our infrastructure, something that was helping our students, our children. Then also there were a number of schools. There was one school called Fahan International School, which was right across the road in Bhajanpura, and that was under the danger of an attack. And we spoke to Mohammad Haider Naqvi, its owner, who told us that he got in touch with with a few people, with a few political people in the area, and he spoke to Pramod Gupta, the BJP councillor from Gonda, and then the locals, got together and protected the school. Fahan International School later also came under some, I think, scrutiny by the police. So I think that was, it was rather unfortunate that. And we saw the school. It's located in a very central area in Bhajanpura. And we spoke to parents from all around the area. We spoke to parents who sent their children to that school. And it was very unfortunate that educational institutions were targeted. Then also, not just schools, but also institutions, or rather I should say institutes, that were running in that entire stretch, the Bhajanpura road, the main road, right, joining the highway, where on one side you have Bhajanpura and on the other side you have Chandbagh. So there's a market area in which there were a number of institutes which catered to both communities. Children from both communities used to go there, learn, various skills were being, one was a computer institute, one was a training institute, and in one institute there was a coaching institute for NEET and JEE. So these institutes were targeted while the students were there. We spoke to owners, the students, and it was very difficult for the owners to ensure the safety and security of the students, their staff, as well as their own selves. And so all these things were not really covered in the media. I should say that the media, well, did not cover this. Why were these things not covered? Why was only the role of Rajdhani school or the destruction of DRP school covered is something which really need to deeply think about the kind of news that we are also the kind of news that we also see, we in media news is like it's like a product. Whatever sells, whatever gets more TRPs, that will be shown. Whatever is more sensational is shown. But rather, what is more tragic, or what is more fundamental, or what is more, something that requires a lot of thought, this kind of news may not be sensational and may not be, always in the mainstream. So that is how it has panned out, I think.
So another interesting factor which I noted was, in certain places, the local Muslim leaders as well as the Hindu leaders were urging the protesters to stop protesting and stop blocking the roads. So I do believe in a section you just mentioned that these people were cordoning off roads and then protesting and not accepting to go off. And it is also mentioned that there was a swap between. So, for example, the one who belongs to Bhajanpura was protesting somewhere, and the one who was protesting somewhere was protesting elsewhere. Yeah. So, don't you see? I mean, that is how I saw it. So I'm asking you the same question. Don't you see a shift is happening between the old school leaders and a new set of leaders are coming up in the name of urban Naxalism? And also, can we say that this is going beyond religion as well?
Okay, that's a very important point which we have highlighted, and I'm glad that readers have caught on to that and they have questions related to that. First, let me make it very clear that we spoke to a large section of people. We did not restrict ourselves to any community, by any age, by any religion. We spoke to Muslims, we spoke to Hindus, we spoke to locals of the area from both communities. And this is one very important thing that we observed, especially the thing that the section that you're talking about in the book, that is the section in which we have interviewed two leaders from Jafrabad, Maulana Daud and Maulana Shamim, both very respectable, but very respected and very respectful gentlemen. Also, we had a number of meetings with them. And we spent a considerable amount of time talking to them. See, we are a country, even in the 21st century, we are a country in which our elders have a lot of importance, especially in communities, even within Delhi, communities which are more which are not very urbanized, or which are not very isolated, or communities which are more homogeneous than some localities. So for instance, in Jafrabad, it's a fairly homogeneous area where you have a large concentration of Muslims, and they are their leaders, their elders are very significant there. And they all congregate around a mosque, because that is a mosque or a madrasa, because that is the way that the community is structured. You will find similar replications even amongst the Hindu community. You will have in semi-urban areas in Delhi, slightly outskirts, rural areas, semi-rural areas in Delhi, you will have one or two leading figures amongst the Hindu community, or even in northeast Delhi. You will have community leaders playing a very significant role, and and they normally play, I would say by default, play a pacifist role. They do not play a role which is, they do not play a disruptive role. And that is what was happening even here. So we were told by Maulana Daud and Maulana Shamim, and we were also, we triangulated, cross-checked every piece of data that we put in this book. So we also spoke to the police, and both told us that yes, ever since these anti-CA protest movements have started, which includes the time period from December onwards, these leaders had been playing a very significant role in cooperating with the police, and also in managing, or in trying to give a positive orientation to whatever dissent, whatever problem that the locals had with the Citizenship Amendment Act. It's a democracy, we are a democracy, and every policy of the government should be scrutinized, and if there is dissent, that dissent should be out in the open. There should be negotiations with the government, there should be talks. So it is in this spirit that these leaders were also engaging with the local population, creating a bridge with the police. And this is unfortunately, this is the gap, this is the point which I would say, I would use the term urban Naxals, who, they impacted, they wanted to weaken this very link. And